The theater lights dimmed and a hush swept across the massive crowd. Ireland's Got Talent had seen countless auditions that day, singers, dancers, comedians, but no one could have anticipated what was about to unfold. The stage glowed under the white, hot spotlight as the announcer's voice echoed through the halls. "Please welcome from Manila, 4 years old little Sophia!" The audience erupted in polite applause. Cameras panned toward the stage entrance where a tiny figure appeared, clutching her mother's hand tightly. Sophia looked impossibly small against the grand stage backdrop. Her little white dress shimmered under the lights, her black hair tied neatly with a pink ribbon. She squinted up at the towering judges' panel, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. As she made her way to the grand piano standing at center stage, the audience whispered among themselves. 4 years old, she's just a baby, one woman murmured. Another man laughed softly. Can she even reach the pedals? Even the judges seemed unsure. One leaned over to the other, smiling skeptically. "This will be interesting," he said, while the others nodded, expecting a cute but simple performance. Sophia stopped in front of the piano staring at it as if it were something alive. She took a deep breath then turned to look at her mother in the wings. Her mother gave her a reassuring smile and gestured gently toward the keys. Sophia climbed up onto the piano bench, her little legs dangling, not even close to reaching the floor. The sight alone made some in the crowd chuckle affectionately. She straightened her back, took another deep breath, and placed her small fingers on the piano keys. The judges waited patiently, some with amused smiles, others with polite curiosity. A few seconds of silence passed, so thick that even the hum of the cameras could be heard. Then, without warning, the first note rang out, soft, delicate, perfectly in tune. It wasn't random childish tapping. The melody was intentional, controlled, and hauntingly beautiful. The crowd fell instantly silent. Her fingers, so tiny they looked like they might slip between the keys, began to move faster, weaving through chords and arpeggios with impossible precision. The melody soared like a gentle storm building in slow motion, rising and falling with the grace of someone decades older. The judges' faces changed almost immediately. The skepticism vanished, replaced by awe. One leaned forward, jaw open, whispering, "Oh my God." Another covered her mouth, eyes wide with disbelief. The camera zoomed in on Sophia's face, calm, focused, completely lost in the music. Every note she played seemed to tell a story. It was not mechanical or rehearsed, it was emotional, like she was channeling something deep and unexplainable. The lights dimmed further, and a single spotlight isolated her, illuminating the gentle shimmer of tears forming in her mother's eyes backstage. The melody shifted from soft and nostalgic to powerful and dramatic. The audience, previously still, now began to lean forward, some holding their breath, some wiping their eyes. A man in the third row whispered to his wife, "She's not playing, she's feeling it." And it was true. The music carried the weight of something too deep for her age. Her small frame swayed gently with the rhythm, her head tilting as she struck each note with perfect timing. It was as if the piano itself had come alive beneath her touch. The song built to a crescendo, an explosion of notes flowing seamlessly in harmony. One of the judges whispered, "This sounds like Chopin, but it can't be. She's too young to even know this." Another whispered, "It's not Chopin, it's her own interpretation." The final moments of her performance felt suspended in time. Each note seemed to hang in the air long after she pressed the key, echoing through the silent hall. Her little fingers slowed, the melody softened, and the room fell utterly still. When the final note faded, she lifted her hands from the piano, folded them neatly in her lap, and looked up at the audience with innocent eyes, unsure of what to expect. For a heartbeat, there was silence. No one moved. No one spoke. And then, like a wave crashing against the shore, the entire audience rose to their feet, clapping, cheering, shouting. The applause was deafening. Sophia blinked, confused for a second, then smiled shyly, looking toward her mother. One of the judges stood up, hands clasped together, shaking her head in disbelief. "That was miraculous," she said softly. Another judge wiped his eyes, clearly holding back tears. "I've been on this show for years," he said, "and I have never seen anything like that. 4 years old, and she plays like she's lived a lifetime." The camera zoomed in on Sophia, who looked overwhelmed, her small body trembling slightly from the rush of adrenaline. As the applause continued, one judge reached toward the golden buzzer. The crowd immediately sensed what was coming. The cheers grew louder, some shouting, "Hit it!" The judge hesitated for only a moment before slamming his hand down. The buzzer erupted in a burst of golden light. Instantly, confetti rained down from the ceiling, swirling around Sophia like a dream. She covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes widening in shock and wonder. The golden flakes sparkled as they drifted through the air, catching the stage lights like falling stars. The music swelled again, triumphant and emotional, filling the theater as the audience screamed and clapped in unison. Her mother rushed onto the stage, tears streaming down her face. She knelt beside Sophia, wrapping her arms around her, whispering, "You did it, baby, you did it." The judges left their seats and walked toward her, each one offering hugs and words of praise. One knelt to her level and said softly, "You have a gift that the world needs to hear. Never stop playing." The audience continued cheering, some still wiping tears, others waving and blowing kisses toward the stage. Sophia looked up at the confetti still falling from the ceiling. Her little hands reached out to catch a piece, holding it gently like it was something precious. She smiled, the pure, innocent smile of a child who doesn't yet understand how extraordinary she truly is. Cameras zoomed in on her face, framed by golden light and glittering flakes. The world, for that brief moment, felt suspended in awe. Backstage, as she walked off the stage hand in hand with her mother, the sounds of applause still echoing behind her, she looked up and asked softly, "Mama, did I do good?" Her mother laughed through her tears. "You were perfect, Anak. You made everyone cry happy tears." Sophia giggled, swinging her mother's hand. As the cameras cut to the judges giving their final remarks, one of them said, "That wasn't just talent. That was something divine." Another added, "It's moments like these that remind us why we do this show. To witness pure raw brilliance." The replay of her performance played on the big screen, and the audience watched again, many still stunned that someone so small could create something so moving. The golden confetti still sparkled on the stage, reflecting the lights like scattered dreams. The piano sat silently, as if resting after having shared its secret through her hands. The echo of her melody lingered long after she was gone, haunting the air like a beautiful memory no one wanted to end. Outside the theater, news cameras waited. Within hours, clips of her performance would go viral. Titles reading, "Fourier, Old Genius from Manila leaves judges in tears. Tiny pianist breaks the internet. Golden buzzer moment that shook the world." Millions of people would watch in disbelief, replaying the performance over and over, trying to understand how a child could play with such depth. But those who were there that night knew the truth. It wasn't about technical perfection or skill. It was about emotion, soul, and something unexplainable. That night, little Sophia from Manila didn't just impress a panel of judges. She reminded everyone what true beauty sounded like. She reminded them that greatness can come in the smallest forms, that innocence and genius can live in the same heart, and that music, pure, honest music, needs no age, language, or explanation. It only needs to be felt, and everyone in that theater felt it.